Welcome. I'm so glad you could join me today. Today's topic is seeing your angels. So I'm going to be talking to you about the variety of ways that angels can appear to you. And some of them I think will really surprise you, because when I'm having these talks with my clients and teaching them this information, they're almost always, they'll say, at some point they'll be like, oh my gosh, I've been seeing that. I had no idea that that was angels. And that's why I think it's so important to talk about this topic, because the angels are trying so hard to get your attention. And some of the ways are subtle, and some of the ways are definitely anything but subtle. I want to start by talking about how I saw angels all of the time for a very long time. So my very first clear memory of seeing an angel, I was probably between 2-3 years old, and my family was living in Urbana, Maryland. My father had remodeled this very cool old schoolhouse that still had the bell up in the tower. And so we played outside a lot, and I had a little new sister who was still pretty much a baby, and we were outside with our mom, and I wandered off, as children will do. And I found myself on this dirt road, and I had walked down a hill, and then I got scared. And I remember crying and not being sure which way I should go. And I turned around and looked at the top of the hill that I had come from was a female figure. She had on a very pale yellow gown. She had a glow around her. I could see the wings. She had light red flowing hair and just a very beautiful face. And she didn't say anything to me. She just went like this. And I trusted her completely. I mean, part of it was I was a toddler and I was scared and I didn't know what to do. And here's somebody who looks like an adult. But the truth is, I'm sure, looking back on this, that her energy felt so incredibly safe to me that I knew it was okay to go to her. And I did. And she took me by the hand, turned around, and led me back to the edge of the property where I lived. And I walked forward, I turned around, and she was gone. And it's so funny because my mother did not even realize that I was gone. And my mom, super, super good, vigilant mom. So it cannot have been very long that I was gone, but it was scary to me as a young child. So that's how I saw angels all the time until I was 12 or 13 years old. And at that time, all of a sudden, I stopped seeing them like that most of the time, and saw these lights, these beautiful lights, and the lights had depth and movement to them. I thought, being the turmoil years of prepubescence, I thought my angels had abandoned me, and I was just devastated. And it's so crazy because honestly, the energy of the lights was exactly the energy of the angels. And finally they said, hey, it's still us. This is what we look like. And that's when I learned that in the celestial realm, they are beings of light. So the easiest, most natural way for angels to appear to you is as a form of light. And in my experience, seeing angels every day throughout the day, all my life, that is how they appear. So now you can understand why it could be easy to overlook this if you don't understand what's happening. So I want to kind of go through some of these different ways, and then we're going to get to how to actually see your angels, to kind of condition your body to be able to see them, to lower any kind of barriers you have in your body that are unconscious, or even maybe conscious. Maybe you're a little bit afraid. Nothing to be afraid of ever with angels. So it'll help you lower those and just make it easier for you to gain this ability. And I want everyone, if you want to see your angels, I want to help you get there. So we're going to start with, let me get this out of the way here. I didn't want to do the show without some notes because I didn't want to forget anything that I wanted to cover today. And the first one is these little, what I call sparks of light. And they're generally gold or white, and they literally are the size of a pinpoint. When those come in, they can take different forms. Sometimes they just literally just like boop, and they're gone, just a little spark and gone. Sometimes I see them float across the room. Sometimes they'll zigzag around. They can look literally like a teeny tiny little comet going across your room slowly like that. The interesting thing about this is when you start to see those, it's most often in your peripheral vision. And for some reason, it seems to be the left side peripheral more often than the right. When you start to see these, try to overcome your skepticism and just say, hello, angels. Again, they do not care if you don't know their names. They know we care about names, and we're gonna do that. That's gonna be a topic one week for sure, because people ask me about this a lot. But they work as a team, and they don't care. They have no egos. So you can just say, hello, angels, and don't worry about which one it is. It doesn't really matter. But when you acknowledge that you're seeing it and that you understand that's an angel, you're going to see more of those. So that's probably the most common one. And the reason is it takes so little of their energy, they can do it often. Sometimes when, always when I'm doing a Meet Your Angelic Guides reading, at some point they're going to show me, at least one of those angels is going to show me one of these types of light forms I'll tell you about today, to let me know that's how they're appearing to that client. And so they want you to know, they want you to see that and be able to, just letting a guest in, they want you to be able to see that and acknowledge that as an angel and understand what's going on. So again, don't worry about which angel it is, just acknowledge them, hello, and you'll start seeing a lot more. So, I know what I was going to tell you, I lost track a little bit. So sometimes when I'm doing a reading, I will start seeing multiples of those sparks of light. And when they do that, I always feel the angelic energy really gaining. Like right now when I'm talking about it, I feel so many angels gathering around in my office, which is a lot smaller than this room here at my home. It can fill up with angelic energy so that it's like, a little bit hard to get a good breath. But that's just how many angels are coming in. Most often that happens when I'm talking to somebody who's an angel person. That's going to be another topic too, but I will just briefly tell you that an angel person is just the term I use for somebody who was born with a gift of seeing, hearing, and feeling angels. So just like some people are born able to communicate with spirit, some people are born able to connect very well immediately with angels. So when I see a ton of little sparks like that, I start tuning in even more to the possibility of that person being an angel person. So that's one way that they can show themselves. And the more that you acknowledge them, the more that these forms of light start moving into your center vision until right here in front of you. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. These little, they're not, I'm going to say they're soft balls of light, which is not the same as a softball. Sometimes that's confusing. Soft balls of light. So they can be between golf ball size and softball size. And they are round and the outside edge is hazy, and they do have a soft, generally white light, but I have some on film that are pink, lavender, green, blue. So they can be different colors, but generally with angels, I'm going to see the white. So sometimes I see those come in and they can be very frequent. When you see something like that, including the sparks, they're trying to get your attention. So, just minimize distractions. If you're watching TV or listening to the radio or whatever you're doing, turn it off and just say, okay, angels, you have my full attention. What do you want to say to me or show me? And it'll make it much easier for them to communicate to you whatever they want you to do. Or they might want you to pay, maybe they're telling you to pay close attention to something you were looking at, reading at, or talking about, that they're emphasizing something is very important for you. That happens a lot in my readings where the angels will just come zooming in when something I've said is just really important for that client and they want them to know that. So remember how we talked about feeling your angels on a previous show? That's one of the reasons it's really important to be able to gain that skill. So if you haven't watched that show or listened to it, I highly recommend you do. Then, so these soft balls will come in and they can float across the room, they can zoom. Remember how I told you that if you acknowledge these lights as being angelic beings, hello angels, they're going to come in more and more to your center vision. For me, I'm going to hold up my phone here. I might be reading a book like this, and one of those big balls will pop up between my face and the book. Hello. So it can become so evident that there's absolutely no denying it, no missing it. And that's what you really want to head for. That's your goal, to become so well versed with what these different forms are, and that's your angels, and saying hello to them, acknowledging it, that it's gonna be so easy to see them that you cannot miss it. And that's a kapow one. So it does not hurt. It's just really close and evident. The next thing can be these bright balls of white or gold light. And they can be just as I was saying before, but the light is more bright and the edges are a bit more distinct. I've seen them pop in quickly, or move across the room rapidly. And those kind of things are again, just another way they're trying so hard to get your attention. They're probably talking to you and you're not hearing it or are understanding it's your angel. So they're like, okay, we're going to send in this ball of light and make it so that you can't miss it. But what happens in the modern world, we have become very disconnected spiritually. And I think, well, I don't want to say it. Let's just say disconnected spiritually, that we often will say things like, oh, that's weird. And back you go to whatever you were doing. It's not so weird. It's a beautiful sign from your angels trying to get your attention, trying to help you, to guide you. And if you ignore it, it'll lessen. They're never going to stop. Your angels will never stop guiding you. Let me assure you of that. But it's going to be more prolific, more frequent if you acknowledge them when you see these things. And it's interesting that lately in a lot of art, I'm seeing those kind of signs like that. Right now we have a friend of mine, Sarah Hansegard, is here listening live on the show. And I want to give a shout out to her because her artwork is so beautiful. So to me, it is angelic and very spiritual. And I see a lot of angel lights in her art. So you might want to take a look. Sarah Hansegard, artist, amazing. But I see it in other places too. It's popping up a lot online. It's popping up in art, popping up on book covers. These angelic lights. I don't know if that's something happening intentionally to help people wake up. I don't know. I don't believe in coincidence. So I just want to say they're out there. I'm seeing a lot more of them. So another way that you're going to see angels is what I call this parade of angels. And it's not common. I see this. I'm going to go back a little bit here. I've seen it when my life was in danger. I've seen it when my soul was in danger. Like I was so beaten down through abuse and emotional abuse and just ongoing barrage of negativity from a person or persons, that my soul was in danger. My spirit was in danger of not being my normal self, of not being in a place where I can help myself or others. And so in times like that, I see this parade of angels, and I hope to never be in a position again where I need it, but maybe you will be. And I want you to know what this is. So I was laying in bed one night and I was just emotionally devastated. I was in this relationship that was just terrible for me. I wanted so bad to help this person, but he was sabotaging himself. And I couldn't see it then, how dark he was really, and that he didn't really want to step fully into the light at all. But that's beside the point. The point being that I really was just at a very low point spiritually. And all of a sudden, I see this rose-colored light coming in from the right. And it crossed the bed, went through me, went to the left, and disappeared. And right behind it, before it was halfway across the bed, there was this beautiful green light coming in. Then there was this butter yellow light. Then there was a blue light. And it went on and on. I would say it went on for maybe 2 hours. And I stayed awake as long as I could. I finally just passed out. I was so exhausted. But every one of those that went through me, that was angels. Every one of those angels that crossed and went through my energy, I felt a little better. It lifted me up a little higher. I felt a little bit restored, a little bit healed. And it was pretty amazing because that really was part of the turning point. There was about a 2-week period there that several things happened with angels that were amazing, just amazing. And it was a turning point for me to start thinking about what I need to do to survive, what I need to do to be happy, to be whole, to move forward in my life and in my mission. So the other thing, so that's a parade of angels. If you ever see that, then just know that's just God showing you how many angels you have watching over you, protecting you, healing you at that time. You need to know that. And I pray every one of you out there sees that when you're in a time of need. I think the more you work on this ability to see angels, the more likely you can experience that if you are in a place where you're really low or in danger. So I'm sure that that happens for other circumstances, but for me, those are the ones where I saw the parade. And then the other thing is these protective lights. Because of the work I do, helping people who are under attack of the dark, helping people learn how to shield themselves, how to stand strong in the light, how to be a spiritual warrior. The dark doesn't like that. So I have been under attack multiple times through my life. And I think because I had just gotten myself to a point where I had been dealing with angels for so long and I was so used to seeing them that it was easy for me to see all this. But that means you can too by developing this skill. So I was living in a house and I had been under attack there a lot, like pretty much every day. And I was worn down emotionally, physically. I had been hurt multiple times there. And so I was in a lot of pain. I was not sleeping good, as you might imagine. Well, one night, out of the blue, I saw this amazing flash of light. I was sitting at my computer in my bedroom in the dark room. So the only light was my computer screen. And all of a sudden, I see this massive flash go off, and I could see in the reflection of my laptop, the whole room lit up brighter than it is in the day in that room, and then went back down. And I felt, as I'm talking about it, I feel the angels coming in again. But at that time, as I'm watching that, I felt such a huge increase in angelic energy come into that room. And I thought, okay, I'm so focused on, I was doing something work related. I'm so focused on this, I didn't even know I'm under attack. But clearly I was, because that was that was like something that was just like a blast to get anything dark out of the area, just like whoosh, everything black, everything dark must go. You cannot be in this space. And thinking back on it, there were some times in my 30s when I saw that. And I was a single parent living with my daughter, and there would be this bright flash, and my 3D mind was telling me, someone's broke into our house and they're taking flash photography. And I'm like putting a lot extra locks on the door, getting my daughter, I made her sleep in with me, and we'd lock the bedroom door at night. I'm like, I was taking no chances. And what it was really was angelic light. Something was, attacking, and there you can go to sleep, so The point being, what can you do about it that the angels can't do? And I remember my daughter, Michelle, who you're going to meet in a couple episodes, she would say, Mom, I don't know how you get any sleep at all. And I'm like, because once I see these protective lights, I know my angels are on it. What can I do that my angels can't do? They're clearly standing guard over me. They're showing me that they're putting this protective light around me and banishing the dark. I can go to sleep. And I did. I would see that and it'd be like, oh, okay, off I'd go and sleep through the night. And it may sound crazy, but think about it. Like once you know your angels are there protecting you at that level, it is a lot of peace of mind, no matter what is going on, no matter where the darkness is coming from. It can come from people. And there's plenty of dark people out there. So anyway, the other thing I saw one night, I was lying in bed, same house, and I felt darkness. I felt it, and I was a little nervous, and I was on guard. And then I saw this huge arc of white light start on the left side of the room and just go straight across really slow. It was very wide. It was about 4 feet wide. And it was just this white arc slowly went across the room. And once it hit the halfway mark, I felt the darkness lifting. It went further down, hit the edge of the bedroom, and then it was just gone. And again, I went right to sleep. So there's different ways that you can see this, and all of them are they're just letting you know that you've got that kind of protection. And it's not just for me. I'm not such a special person that I get protection, others don't. No, I just see it. But you can learn how to see it. And I think that's what's so important. I love these basic skills about learning to connect with your angels, the feeling them, seeing them, and finally hearing them, which is really crucial. So these are kind of the main things you need to be able to do. Then we're going to get to the whole thing here of exactly how do you see angels? So the easiest way is that once you're in bed and you're ready to sleep, turn off the light and then keep your eyes open and look into the farthest part of the room, as far away as you can. Keep your eyes open, but not cross them. Relax your vision until your eyes almost cross. And I always tell people, I think the best description of this is if you remember those pictures that were made up of dots, and if you relax your eyes, a 3D picture pops out. It's kind of like that. What you're doing is with the angel, looking at angels, is you're allowing your third eye to see it. And I know that's the case because I can't see more than 3 feet away without my glasses. I can't, I'm just very, very farsighted, nearsighted rather. And yet I can see all of this, the colors, the movement, all of this from 18, 20 feet away without my glasses. So I know it's my third eye. If you're not familiar, your third eye is right here between your eyes and slightly above. That's just one of the chakras in your body. And that's where this all seeing, your seeing, clear seeing is coming from. So if you're wondering if yours is open enough, I have some YouTube videos. And one of those that you would find particularly helpful is called Opening Your Chakras Fully. And it goes through each chakra, and the second one will be the third eye. So if you use that guided meditation, it'll make sure your third eye and all the others are wide open, so all the energy is flowing through your body properly, and it'll help you be able to see your angels. So what you're going to do is you're going to look into that dark place in the room, and eventually, if you stay calm, you're breathing. I always say do yoga or meditation breathing. So you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, staying really calm. You will eventually see a light. And when it comes in, it's generally about this size, wider than it is high. And that light has depth and movement to it. The outside edge is not real distinct. We're not talking about an orb. That's something different. This is going to be oblong, and the outside edge is a little hazy. But the light within is distinct for each angel. The colors, the way that the colors are, sometimes the colors are like marbleized. Sometimes there's like a ray of light from the center. Sometimes they have iridescence, which means they're sparkly. Sometimes they're more solid, more of one color than others, and sometimes they're a mix of several colors. Each one, I mean, it's part of how you know which angel is coming in, which is why I like to teach that. So, you know, you can just see the colors of the angel coming in and go, oh, that's my master guide, or hey, that's my guardian angel, or that's a new one I've never seen before, because that still happens to me. I'm like, oh, who are you? Hello. So once you see it, it's actually human nature to get excited and maybe sit up a little bit and try to focus your eyes to see it better, but then you're not using your third eye, and it'll probably disappear. But don't worry, just lay back down, get relaxed again, relax your vision, and it'll still be there. It might have moved, but it'll still be there. For me, my angels generally come in for between 5 minutes and 40 minutes, and it's really up to them. It's not like I have control over how long they stay in, but they'll stay that long and communicate with me. And sometimes they're just there watching over me if I'm too sick or too exhausted to really do much communicating. They're just watching over me. And this is all happening for you too. Again, just because I can see it, like I could always see it, doesn't mean I'm some special person and it's just only happening to me. It's happening for all of you. And I want you to be able to see that, because I think it's life-changing to know for sure that you've got that kind of protection and guidance with you every second of your life. So I want to move ahead a little bit here of what happens. So once you see your angels, you know that's them. What's going to happen then? I can only tell you in my experience, but I know some other clients of mine who've been working with this for years and improving their skills are having similar experiences. For the longest time, when my master guide came in, he would come in exactly as I told you, about this big, and it would grow and grow till he was the size of the wall in whatever room I was in. And that includes when I stayed at a resort and they had it was just a long, long wall. He was the size of the whole wall in the room. Then maybe 4 years ago, he started doing something different. I just go with the flow. I'm just glad I see him. So he comes in and he gets to be about 8 feet long, 4 feet high, and he'll float really gently, but staying in my field of vision. He'll just kind of move. And then there's sometimes when, like I say, if I'm sick or I'm really tired, and I'll just explain to them, I'm so tired, I need to go to sleep. I will wake up at some point. I don't know if I just feel the energy or what it is, but I open my eyes and he's right there on the pillow next to mine, like maybe a foot away, right there. Like, oh, hello. So sometimes they're right there close to you. You just never know. There's not much rhyme or reason. You may have experience completely different from mine, and that's okay too. Completely okay. I do want to throw in here, yes, the show is mostly about your own angels, but I don't want to limit to that. I want to talk about archangels off and on too. So archangels are very important. It's different from your personal angels. Your angels are focused just on you. You don't share them with anybody else. Their sole purpose is guiding you. Archangels are for everybody in the world, and they can be with many, many people at the same time. So the point being, at that same resort where I was staying and I had that huge wall in the room, Archangel Michael came in. And when he did that, not only was he wasn't just the size of the wall, his royal blue energy, that light, filled up every square inch of that huge suite, floor to ceiling, wall to wall. And the frequency was so high, my whole body was shaking like this, because it's just their frequency is just so much higher than humans could ever be. And I could feel that, just my whole body shaking. It doesn't hurt. It's not scary. It's just your body feeling the frequency of an archangel. And then there was this grid warp, like a grid that showed up. I remember telling my business partner, Roz, about this. It was like a thin white grid that went through horizontally, and then there was one going the other way. And I still don't know what that was all about. I do know, like, the reason I was there was healing from that relationship I mentioned earlier that was so toxic. And it was so bad for me that my organs were shutting down. I had to have exploratory surgery trying to figure out one thing that was happening with me. I was in a very bad state. Roz loves to say she was a mess. Yes, I was. So I went there for a week or so just to spiritually recover. I needed to be away from him. I needed to get myself centered and balanced. And I was praying. I was doing, and talking to my angels. I was doing meditation. I was watching guided meditations. I was doing affirmations, and I was doing a lot of forgiveness work. There's the forgiveness prayer I've used for a long time. I was forgiving him, myself, anybody else that I felt I had issues that I had not fully forgiven. I was doing that so I could free myself. So I felt like Archangel Michael came in to like really shield me from anything that might have been aimed at me, knowing how hard I was working to get myself together. And I wanted to be more than together. I wanted to zoom ahead, which is what happened from that weekend, that week I was there. I healed, I got stronger, and it was just like I took off like a rocket. I just started shedding all of that toxic stuff and moving away from that person, just getting them out of my life and out of my energy field, and focusing completely on me, which is not selfishness, but it's healing. If you're worried about what somebody else is doing or not doing, then you're not taking care of yourself. So that was important. And I'm sure that's why he came in at that point, but I'll never forget it. It was so incredibly powerful. That's the most, I feel the archangels every time I do the invocation of the archangels before I do any kind of connection with angels. I always feel them coming in like as each one, Michael to my right, Uriel to my left, Raphael before me, and Gabriel behind me. I feel their powerful energy come in on that side immediately. But this was something different. This was something spectacular that meant a lot to me at the time. I just felt so grateful. I still do feel so grateful to have an archangel come in and go, oh my gosh, girl, let's help you. Let's give you a boost, help you get out of this pit. I definitely had been in a dark night of the soul. That's another topic that's coming up. I think that's an important one. It seems like a lot of people really decide to connect with their angels during or after a dark night of the soul. And if you don't know what that is, that's when you just get into this terrible emotional state. It can be abuse. It can be just one blow after another. It can be health issues, but when you're in it, you're in it. And it's like being in a dark pit. It's hard to get out. So we will talk about that on another show. So I encourage you to practice this. Laying in bed, turning off the light, looking into a dark area of the room, and just relaxing your vision. Do not try for more than 4 or 5 minutes. That if you go beyond that, it's literally like pulling teeth. It's just going to exhaust you. If you're not seeing it in that time, it just means it's not quite time for you to see it yet. So you've got that barrier. I hope you can my book is out now. Let Your Angels Lead. It's on Amazon. Let Your Angels Lead. There's a long chapter in there called Troubleshooting that takes you through step by step what to do if you're having any trouble with with seeing, feeling, hearing your angels. It'll help take down those barriers you have within you faster. So I encourage you to get that if you're having any kind of difficulty. And so practice that every night that you can. The truth is, it's not going to happen until it's meant to happen. And there's a saying we have at my business, Sedona Soul Sisters, everything in divine time. And that's certainly true with the angels. You are not going to be able to make yourself see your angels before you're meant to. And whether that's about divine time or it's about you having those barriers within that are subconscious, either way, you can't make it happen. You're just going to make yourself frustrated. And please don't compare yourself to anybody else. I think that is it's a big danger with learning anything, but I think it's a danger with everything. you can't compare yourself to anyone else with anything you do, because you're you. You're unique. Yes, there's other people who do what you do, but they do it their way, you do it your way, and you're all going to attract the energy of the people you need to attract. So give yourself a break. Be gentle with yourself like your angels would, and just let yourself know that it's going to take what it takes. And if it takes 6 months, don't you think 6 months is a good investment to be able to see your angels the rest of your life? Because once you do that, then you can start figuring out which angel is which. My master guide is a mix of royal blue and purple that's very distinct, has a little iridescence in it. I see him every single night, with very few exceptions. And I don't know what's going on with that. Just occasionally I won't, but most nights he's there. During the day, I see him differently. During the day, I see him as usually those balls of light. It's just easier to see it then. There is one other way that sometimes I see angels, and I forgot to mention this earlier, and that is what I call the shimmer. And this is a weird thing to compare it to, but if you've ever seen the movie, the Predator movies, when he's got his alien disguise on, all you see is this like shimmer of light. You don't really see him. So the shimmer is very similar to that, only it's an angel. This is an angel just manifesting themselves. I see that at my office a lot when I'm doing angelic work. I'll see it. It's just the shimmer, the silvery shimmer. And I'll feel the angel come in as I see that very strongly. And I think it's just like, I've maybe started seeing that about 5 years ago, that shimmer of light. But I know some other people I talk to, when I tell them, hey, your angel's showing me this shimmer, they're like, oh, what's it look like? I tell them, and they're like, oh, I've seen that. They just had no idea that that was an angel or could be an angel. So there's another way. Your angel can appear to you as any of these ways. It's not limited. So sometimes they're going to come in as that light, the mix of colors. Sometimes they're going to be a spark of light. Sometimes they're going to be the soft balls of light. They could be that shimmer. I think part of it is also what you're able to see. And I think the angels do some experimentation to see, hey, let's see if she can see this little spark of light. Well, she thought that, she just blew that off. She thought that was just something. I have people tell me, like, I thought something was wrong with my eyes and I went to my eye doctor and they said I'm fine. Which reminds me of another thing. I started to see this at night. Every night I would see this corona of golden light. And it went on and on. My eyes weren't hurting. I didn't have any other symptoms, but I'm like, something's not right here. And I went to my eye doctor and he did an exam and he said, there's nothing wrong with your eyes, nothing at all. And I still see that corona of light very often. And I think what I'm seeing is like the golden bubble of protection I put around myself just to make sure that any negative energy cannot penetrate and affect me and affect my work. And so you can see all kinds of things, and something new might suddenly appear for you you haven't seen before. It's all fine. Just go with it. Go with what you're feeling. You already hopefully have watched the show. If you haven't, please do, of Feeling Your Angels, because once you know how you feel the energy of angels, no matter what you see, if you feel that angelic energy, you can relax. That's just angels. That's angels. Okay, here's another cool way that I'm going to see my angels appear to me. So I think that's those two things are part of how you know, and coming to that knowing is a big part of what this is all about. My goal is to help you believe that angels are real, embrace it, trust that your angels are there for you and that they're trying to guide you. How they guide you is in such a wide variety of ways. I couldn't possibly cover that in one topic, and thank goodness, because I'd run out of topics, wouldn't I? So we're going to be covering each one of these things little by little, unfolding this. I think that you're going to find it really helpful. Once you're practicing I would start with your master guide, asking your master guide to appear to you, and only your master guide. And before you do that, say some prayers. If you want some, I have some on my website you're welcome to use, and that is ivoryangelicmedium.com. And under resources, you're going to see spiritual protection. Most of the ones I use, there's only one that I don't put on there because it's copyrighted, but most of the ones I use are there, and you're welcome to add your own prayers, whatever makes you feel safe and protected. Then, you're going to ask your master guide to appear to you, because it's really important to kind of start with that. He's the head of your angelic team. Wouldn't it be cool if you can see him, what his colors are, and as soon as you see that, you're like, oh, my master guide is here. So who you're communicating with, who's there with you. I think that that's a big part of the start of this journey. These 3 skills really start the journey. It's not the end. Feeling, seeing, and hearing is not the end. It's the beginning. It's those skills that need to be in place to really build the relationship. And that's what it's all about. That's what your angels are super excited about, that they want that relationship with you. So once you have seen your master guide 3 to 5 times, you're seeing the same colors, you feel their energy, and you feel confident, okay, I know how to feel my master guide now. You can go on to your guardian angel and focus on them. Only my guardian angel come through at this time and let me see your colors. And focus on that until you can see them really clearly. Then you can go on to archangels. And I suggest starting with Archangel Michael or Archangel Raphael. They seem to come through the most powerfully and consistently. There's a lot of other archangels you can choose from. If you have a really close bond with a different one, by all means, call them in. But start with your 2 main angels, because that's where you're going to get the bulk of your guidance. And then you can start doing archangels. And I'm going to talk about the value of why it's important to keep an angel journal in a future episode. And it won't be too long, because I want you to have it before we go too much further, so you can start keeping track of your experiences. Part of how I could write my book and get the details accurate is I've been doing this for 35 years. I've kept journals of what my angels tell me, what they show me, what I see in dreams, other strange, supernatural things that I see and experience. It's all in one, for me, it's all in one journal that I keep. I just have multiple volumes of them. And so I was able to go back and see the date, the time, and exactly what happened, because I have a good memory, but that doesn't mean I'm going to remember every detail of an experience from 30 years ago. If you do, more power to you, but most people will not. So you might find it really important to have that detail available to you if you need it. Maybe you're going to write a book. Maybe you just want to keep track of your experiences and your growth with these skills and the way that your relationship with your angels is unfolding. But I think there's a lot of value to keeping track of that. So we'll talk about that more in detail. So what you're doing is you're practicing seeing your angels, then you're going to work on an archangel or 2 and see how that goes for you, because this is a really important skill for you to be able to know who's coming through to you. And we're going to be building on the skill of feeling your angels, seeing your angels. We're going to be building on that going forward, taking this deeper so that you have what you need, the tools in your toolkit to be successful with this. Tune in next week. The topic is the value of a close bond with your angels. We're going to be talking about why you'd want to have that kind of close relationship with your personal angels, like what's in it for you. What can you expect once you have that built, once you have that ability and you've created that bond? You're going to be very surprised at the wide reach of assistance that is going to give you. I took it for granted myself for a long time, because I was able to do this since I was a toddler. I can't remember not seeing angels. I just took it for granted. But once students were asking me all these questions, and I'm really pinpointing things down, I realized incredible, woven through the tapestry of our life, how they are helping us and guiding us once you know it, once you got that grip on it. So tune in for next week, same time, Sunday at noon, Arizona time, which is currently Pacific Standard Time. And if you have questions and you're watching, listening to this later and you have questions, you can always email them to me at ivoryangelic@outlook.com. This show's available on YouTube and all major podcast platforms. And in the meantime, may the blessings of your angels surround you and have you filled with love and light. I'll see you next week.